My name is Katy, and baby was born May of 2023. Originally, I knew that I was done having babies of my own, and my work, I work for a birth center. It keeps me really involved in pregnancy and birth and all of that, and I just felt the pull to want to still be part of that community. Like I wanted to be pregnant and give birth again, but I didn't want another baby. Yeah, and then it kind of just transitioned into thinking more about how I could help another family and how I could make a difference kind of just in the world, by helping bring another human into the world, and what a big difference that makes. It was a long process, even though things went smoothly for us and the first transfer worked and all of that, it was long. I think there was a moment after he was born when all of us were at my house. My mom was here, the parents were here, and baby and her sibling, and my husband and my daughter were here. And there was a moment where and the intended father spoke to my mom about how grateful he was for everything that we did. And that's one of my most sometimes I feel like it's hard for you to hear the gratitude directly, it doesn't sink in the same way as it does when you hear someone speak about you as it does when they speak directly to you. So, and that kind of leaves a lasting memory. I think the part that I wasn't prepared for, maybe was most unexpected, was just how challenging it was to build a relationship with the parent. I don't know, I thought it was going to be easy and happy and exciting, and it was sometimes easy and happy and exciting, and sometimes I wasn't sure what they were thinking or feeling, and I was worried, if I was doing things right. And so I think that was probably the most unexpected part for me, just was that relationship was more challenging than I expected it to be. Easier than I thought. I mean, we're the first parents that I met, and I think I was the first surrogate that they met, and it actually wasn't an immediate, I didn't know right away. I was again, kind of I'd never done it before. I didn't really know what to expect. I was am I supposed to feel this overwhelming feeling this is it? And I didn't feel that. They were really nice and seemed great couple and all of that, but I didn't feel an overwhelming sense of this is right. So then I met them again, and then I did feel that. It was we were both able to relax a little bit more the second time we met, and that allowed us to connect more on a personal level, which is I think what was missing the first time. So it was good, and I was grateful to have the opportunity and the space to do that, to meet them again. I was a little I remember, now that you ask, thinking, I think I even asked Jen, can I meet more parents, because I wanted to see if the feeling was different, and the answer was no. It's not how you guys do it, or at least it wasn't then. And so I was I think having that second meeting validated that I was making the right choice, but I was seeking validation, and so it ended up going fine and pretty easy. But again, it's all new. I just didn't know exactly what to expect. Yeah, I didn't really talk to strangers. I mean, I did. I don't talk to strangers. I'm just kidding. Unless they brought it up, unless something came up. I didn't go out of my way to say, this is what I'm doing. I kind of waited for someone to be are you having a baby? I was like, yeah, I am. It's not mine. My husband likes to, you know, mess with people. They like to do that, don't they? Yeah. But with friends, and I shared with, you know, close friends and family, and then the word kind of spreads, you know, as it does. And I still love talking about it. So I loved being open and sharing the ups and downs of everything with people who are interested in asking. I just have one, and my daughter's 7, and we haven't had, like, there's still, like, through all of this, she still hasn't asked how our baby's made. I'm like, we have to bring it up.
It's coming.
I went early on. We like, once, I think it was after the match meeting, that, like, over dinner one night, I said to my daughter, you know how sometimes people have a hard time, or aren't able to have babies, or need some help having babies. And Lucy was like, yeah, she has someone in her life, or more than one person in her life, who have, you know, used, I guess, I don't know if we know anybody who's adopted, but used assisted reproductive technology to have their babies. So, you know, same-sex couples and such. So she got the idea of, like, sometimes people need help. And I was like, well, sometimes, you know, women have babies for someone else. And then that was just it. Like, that was just the conversation that time. That was the end of it. And she was just like, okay, you know, eating my mac and cheese, carry on. And then a couple of weeks later, like, when the match was official and start medications and stuff like that, I'm like, she's gonna catch on. She was old enough that something's going on. And so then we just had another conversation. Remember how I told you that sometimes people have babies for other people? And she said, yeah, well, I want to do that. I'm going to try and do that. And then she had questions about, like, who are you going to do that for? But also, one of her very first questions was, does that mean you're going to have to go to the birth center? Because I work at the birth center, and, like, that you're not going to be home, like, you're going to leave. That was her biggest concern. And I was able to say yes, but not right now. But there will be a couple times that I will have to leave for a day or two, and that will be with you. So that was kind of how we told her about it. And then what was actually really lovely about the match for us was that the parents had a daughter who was, well, she's 5 now, so she must have been 4 when we matched. And my daughter is 7, so she's 2 years older. And they, like, that, having that connection of them having a little girl who was close in age to my daughter, I think helped her, like, kind of see them as, you know, like, real people, I don't know, or something like that. And also, when they met, they loved each other. They played together so well and got along so great. And I think that was just helpful for all of us in the journey, to have the kiddos that, you know, can help move the relationship along. They do that. Good. I mean, in short, it wasn't what I expected, which it usually isn't. That's what I've learned, you know, working in the world of birth, is you should expect it to not be what you plan. You know, you should expect to not know what's going to happen. But in the end, I was, I had a fine birth, and the postpartum recovery was pretty easy. Everything, I mean, honestly, the harder part was kind of like mid-pregnancy was more the harder part for me than the delivery and postpartum. It's great to recover without having a newborn. It was lovely that the parents stayed in town for a couple of weeks because we got to see them after. Me, for my daughter to see baby with the parents. I don't know that it would have been a problem if she didn't, but it just felt important to me for her to, like, see this baby that was inside of me and that she was talking to and knowing about for so long, to see it on the outside and see where she was going. So yeah, in short, it was right. Well, I didn't see them hold her right away. I guess really I don't like have the moment because they weren't in the room when she was born. Nurse was like, I'll push the cradle and we'll walk back to your room. And I was like, why can't they just hold her? I don't know why that was a thing, but like I don't actually have a memory of them like literally holding her for the first time. Them seeing her for the first time was it was really good. Like it felt really right. I have described the moment when he was born as like when my daughter was born, I had this overwhelming like sense of love and protection, and like I wanted her to be safe and well. And I had the same sense when she was born of like wanting her to be healthy and safe and loved, but it felt like that sort of like overwhelming love that you have for your new baby was almost like it was like redirected. It felt like I had this overwhelming sense of like wanting her to be protected, but it wasn't from me. It was she was born and I was like, they need to be here right now. Like get the parents in the room. And so having them be there, just very shortly after she was born, it just felt right. And I knew she was where she should be. We're still in touch. They've sent me a few pictures and we chat on text. We did a video call actually a few weeks ago too. 2 months old, I guess maybe it was more than a few weeks ago. And I expect that we'll stay in touch casually, but not maybe less and less kind of as time goes on, which feels good. I love seeing pictures of both of the girls, but babies, they change so fast, so it's fun to see kind of filling out and looking more like a baby than a newborn and all of that. Well, hard to say for sure because I didn't do it without working with an agency, but there definitely was some support that I got from the agency. Even like post-birth, I got a little care package and a little, what are they called, willow tree figurine that I love having, like that little memento. And I think the agency knows things like that are important, and maybe the parents wouldn't have thought of something like that. It feels good to have somebody who on my side who knows. I felt like the agency was on my side. I felt like you all were on my side, and having someone on my side who knows the process, who's done this before. And also there were a few times like where the financial piece, I think, like I wasn't shy about talking about it. I wasn't like, I was comfortable with it. And I think the intended parents I worked with were too, but there were some times where like the intended father would ask a question about a bill and then she would ask me. And I think that probably was a little smoother than having to have the direct conversation. It never made me uncomfortable. I don't know if I would have been uncomfortable if they approached me directly, but having that buffer, I can definitely see that being a benefit. I don't know, people are always saying like, do your research, and all of that is important, but it's like, no matter how much you research, I feel like it's the same way with parenting. Like I didn't know what it was going to be like. It didn't matter how much people told you you're not going to sleep or it's going to be hard or any of that. Like it just didn't matter until you did it. And I feel like it's the same way with the whole surrogacy journey. Like I was like, I can handle the injections, and at the point where I was like, this is a lot of injections. There's all of it was manageable, but you just don't know. I guess my words of wisdom are, you don't know until you know. And I guess also having a good support system really is important, because the agency can support you, the intended parents can support you, but when it comes down to it, the people I really needed the most support from were my family, my household family, and my family and friends who knew what was going on and asked questions and kept asking questions and kept checking in, because they're the ones who are right here for you. I think, there was just some time where I felt that things were just hard.